Okay? We are still under nutrition. We are saying that nutrition has got two modes. We have what we call autotrophic mode of nutrition, and then we have what we call heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Now, under autotrophic, ladies and gentlemen, here organisms are busy making their own food, or they just manufacture their own what? Food. So, food is self-made. In fact, the word auto means self. The word auto means self. And then the word trophic means feeding. Therefore, this means what we call self-feeding. Self-feeding. Here, organisms are busy making their own food. And those organisms making their own food, they are called autotrophs. They are called autotrophs. Now, under what we call autotrophic mode of nutrition, we have what we call photosynthesis, and then we have what we call chemosynthesis. Now, under chemosynthesis, the word photo means light. The word photo means light. And then the word synthesis means making of. Altogether, making of. Therefore, here, organisms are busy making their own food, but using light energy. Using light energy. Altogether. And basically, here we have what we call the green coloring matter, or the green plants. The green plants. And then the green bacteria. The green bacteria. Altogether. Okay. Now, under chemosynthesis, because we have said we have two, we have photosynthesis and then what we call chemosynthesis. Now, under chemosynthesis, you can see the word chemo coming from the word chemicals. Altogether. Chemicals. And then synthesis, making of. Now, here in chemosynthesis, organisms are busy making their own food, but using chemicals. And a very good example we can use here is the sulfur bacteria. The sulfur bacteria. It makes its own food using what chemicals. Now, the chemical here can give is called what we call hydrogen sulfide. Hydrogen sulfide. So, in a brief, that's what we call autotrophic mode of nutrition. Under photosynthesis, we shall go more deeper there. Altogether. Okay. Now, let's go to what we call heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Now, under heterotrophic, members, ladies and gentlemen, we have what we call number one. Here, organisms are not making their own food. However, the word heterotrophic has two words. We have hetero and then trophic. The word hetero means different. Therefore, here organisms are busy obtaining food, but out of what we call different organisms. In fact, they are busy obtaining food from other organisms. For them, they are not able to manufacture their own food. So what they do manufacture, or they do obtain their food from other organisms. Now, we have got other modes out of what we call heterotrophic mode of nutrition. One, it is called what we call holozoic mode of nutrition. Holozoic mode of nutrition. Now, under holozoic mode of nutrition, we shall have what we call the breaking down of food. The breaking down what? Breaking down of food into smaller particles, which can be absorbed by what? By the body. Then number two, we have what we call saprophytism. Saprophytism. Now, under saprophytism, here the organisms which are engaged are called the saprophytes. Now, these saprophytes, for them, they feed in a mode called saprophytism. Now, saprophytism, this majorly means what we call the obtaining of food, but it is decaying. In fact, here organisms are feeding on already decaying what? On already decaying matter. A very good example is what we call the fungi. The what? The fungi. Here organisms are busy obtaining what we call food, but it is decaying what? Decaying matter. So, a good example is called what? Fungi. Always fungi are found in what called damp places which are rotting. Therefore, for them, they are busy obtaining their food, but the food they are enjoying is what we call decaying what? Decaying matter. So, for them, they feed on what we call already decaying what? Already decaying matter. That process or that mode of nutrition is called saprophytism. Altogether. Then from there, we have what we call parasitism. Parasitism. Now, under parasitism, this is a relationship. Again, it is also what we call a mode of feeding. Now, under parasitism, this is actually between two organisms. These are two organisms having a very good relationship. However, one of them is the host. And then another one is what we call a parasite. So one of them is the host, and then another is a parasite. Now, in this process, or in this way of feeding, one organism is benefiting and another one is what we call being harmed. In this case, or in this part, our host is being harmed. You can put the negative. Our host being harmed. And then our parasite, where it is benefiting. Benefiting. And the way it is benefiting is by feeding. So, for the parasite is feeding on the host. As the host is being suffered, or is suffering, the parasite is benefiting. Now, under parasites, we have what called endoparasites and then ectoparasites. Endo, they are found inside. Then exo, they are found outside. An example of an outside parasite, you can give there what called a ringworm. Yes, the ringworm. For example, for you having a ringworm, the ringworm is feeding on you. Altogether, is feeding on you. But for you are being harmed, the skin is being tortured, the skin becomes very, very rough altogether. However, for you, as a being harmed, the ringworm is benefiting altogether. Therefore, you become what we call the host, as what we call the ringworm becomes the parasite. Another example you can give is a bedbug altogether. So the bedbug is a parasite. However, the humans on which they are benefiting, for them they are what? They are the hosts. Am I clear there? Thank you. Now, from there, we have another one, because there are basically 5. We have another one. The fourth one is called what we call mutualism. It's called mutualism. Now, under mutualism, this is another brother of parasitism. However, listen, under mutualism, here organisms, they are 2 altogether of different species. One is benefiting. One is what? Is benefiting. In fact, both of them, they are benefiting. Both benefit. Now, both are benefiting. However, one is benefiting in terms of shelter. One benefits in terms of what? Of shelter. And another one is benefiting in terms of nutrition. Nutrition. A very good example I can give you is what called a lichen. Now, lichen, this is what called an example of what we call the mutualists. Those ones under what we call mutualism. Now, under what we call lichen, this is what we call a combination of algae and then fungi. Ladies and gentlemen, all of us we are aware that the algae, for them, they are almost green in color. Therefore, they are able to manufacture their own food. However, for the fungi, can't manufacture their own food. Reason being, for them, they lack of chlorophyll. What does it mean? It means that as the fungi is giving algae shelter, the algae is busy giving the fungi food. Therefore, in that relationship, both are benefiting. As the algae is getting the shelter, the fungi is benefiting from it as it is feeding on already decaying matter. Am I clear? So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, then this is 4. Mutualism. We have said under mutualism, both organisms are benefiting. However, one is benefiting in shelter, as another one is benefiting as what we call in food issues now. Okay, another issue about what we call mutualism, you can go and see what we call leguminous crops. Altogether, all legumes. Legumes, they have what we call root nodules. Altogether, those root nodules are good at what we call at anchoring some of the bacteria. However, these bacteria, for them, they are busy fixing nitrogen in the soil. Altogether, so as they are fixing nitrogen in the soil, for them, they are benefiting in getting shelter and root nodules. However, the plant is benefiting by obtaining nitrogen they are fixing. On the same page? Yes. Okay. Let's go to number 5, which is called what called phagocytosis. Phagocytosis. Now, under what called phagocytosis, we have two. We have the word phago and then cytosis. Okay. Now, under phagocytosis, here we see organisms eating, or we can see what we call organisms which are single celled all together, feeding in this mode. Now, in this mode, we see what we call the process of engulfing. All together, engulfing. In simple terms, cells are busy taking what we call solid food. Solid what? Solid food. In fact, in simple terms, we can call this one cell eating. Cell eating. Cells are busy eating, but they eat what we call solid substances by the process called engulfing. A very good example we can use here is called what we call an amoeba. All of us we are aware an amoeba is a single-celled organism. This is the way it is feeding by engulfing. But the process or the mode of feeding is called phagocytosis altogether. Okay. Now, after seeing that, we have said they are under phagocytosis. They are busy enjoying their food substance under what we call engulfing. I want us to concentrate today on what we call holozoic mode of nutrition. Altogether, holozoic mode of nutrition. Now, under holozoic mode of nutrition, we are going to see how it comes here. Okay. Attention please. We have holozoic mode of nutrition. Holozoic mode of nutrition. Okay. Holozoic mode of heterotrophic what? Nutrition. Now, under holozoic, I want us to pay attention. We have said under holozoic, organisms are undergoing what we call breaking down of food substances, breaking down of food altogether into smaller substances altogether that can be absorbed by the body. So here we are seeing what we call the breakdown of food altogether. The breakdown of what? Of food into smaller substances which can be absorbed by what? By the body. Now, in holozoic type of nutrition, we have the following. Number 1, ingestion. Altogether, ingestion. 2, we have what we call digestion. We have digestion. 3, we have what we call absorption. Absorption. Then 4, we have what we call assimilation. Assimilation. Then lastly, we shall see what we call egestion. Altogether. We shall see what we call egestion. Now listen. Ingestion, this is just the taking in of food. Taking in of what? Of food. Taking in of food by what? By the organism. Taking in of food in the mouth. In the mouth. That's called ingestion. You are busy putting in what called food in the mouth. Then number 2, we have digestion. Here, this is the breakdown of food. Breakdown of food. Breakdown of food into smaller particles. Then absorption. Here, the body, or we can say the food, is taken into blood streams. Into blood streams. That's called absorption. From the intestines to the blood streams. Then assimilation. Assimilation means making good use of food. Making good use of food. So for you, after eating your food, when it is being digested, absorbed, it undergoes what we call assimilation. This is the way how the body makes a good use of food. If it is a good food, it is a growth food altogether. Bodybuilding what? Food. What happens? We see what we call the making of good use of what? Of this food. For example, we have the proteins. All of us we are aware. Proteins are bodybuilding what? Foods. Therefore, when we reach what we call the assimilation part, we shall see what we call the amino acids being used in what we call generation of what we call tissues, or replacement of what we call damaged what? Tissues. Altogether. Okay. Then we have what we call digestion. Digestion, this is the putting out of undigested food. Putting out of undigested what? Digested food. Altogether. The putting out of undigested food is called digestion. And basically, this one passes through the anus, this is in the mouth. Altogether. So, these are the 5 stages of what we call holozoic mode of nutrition. Altogether. Okay. Now, I want us to go to what we call digestion. Digestion. Okay. Let's enjoy what we call digestion. What takes place when you eat your food? We are going to use an example of portion and beans. Portion and beans. Portion and beans. Now, digestion of portion and beans. Now, all of us we are aware that beans, they have what we call proteins altogether. And then the portion, it has what we call the carbohydrates. However, we have the third class of carbohydrates known as the polysaccharides, and this is called starch. Therefore, basically, we are going to see what we call the breakdown of proteins and starch. Am I clear? Now, what is the basis of assessment when you're answering what we call digestion of portion and beans? One, if you have to tell us digestion, first come and tell us what we call the part of the digestive system. Part of digestive what? Digestive system. Altogether. Then number 2, you will tell us which food substance is broken down. Altogether. Food substance broken down. And after being broken down, to which product being produced, and which enzyme. However, don't forget under what called the properties of enzyme. They work under what called a specific pH. Therefore, come and tell us the pH of that enzyme. Altogether. Okay. Now, listen properly and carefully. We have seen part of digestion, food broken down to which food substance, and then which enzyme, and then the pH. We can now set off. Let's begin in the mouth. Don't forget, under digestion, we have types of digestion. We have mechanical digestion, and then we have what we call the chemical digestion. Chemical digestion is by what we call the enzymes, and then mechanical digestion or physical digestion. You can see what called digestion in the teeth altogether. When the food is broken down by the teeth, that's called mechanical digestion altogether. Even the pounding of the food by the stomach walls, that's also mechanical digestion. Okay. Now, let us see in the mouth. What happens? We are assuming you have been given what we call a meal of portion and beans. What happens? It is now lunchtime. Okay. Now, we are going to see what we call the breaking down of food by the teeth. That process is called mastication. Mastication, this is the breakdown of food substances altogether in the mouth, but using the teeth altogether. Now, after what we call mastication, the tongue, altogether, the tongue now begins to roll the food. So the tongue rolls the food and mixes it with saliva. And mixes it with saliva. Altogether, with saliva. Now, after mixing food with saliva, ladies and gentlemen, the saliva now contains what we call an enzyme called salivary amylase. Salivary amylase. Altogether, salivary amylase. Where is it coming from? From the salivary glands. Altogether. Okay. Now, salivary amylase from the saliva comes in now to break it down. Altogether, to break down what we call a starch to maltose. Altogether, starch what? To maltose. So, we are busy breaking down the starch to maltose using what we call salivary amylase. Am I clear? Salivary amylase. Altogether. Now, our starch has turned into what we call the maltose in the stomach, but I mean in the mouth. But at which pH? At what we call a neutral pH. So salivary amylase is working basically and based on what we call the neutral pH in the mouth. Therefore, we are only seeing digestion of starch in the mouth. There is no digestion of proteins in the mouth. Okay. Now listen properly. After breaking down our food into now maltose, which has been our starch, we shall see what we call the rolling of food by the tongue into what we call the bolus. Am I clear? Into what we call the bolus. Now the bolus, what happens? It is being taken to the stomach through the esophagus by the process called what we call peristalsis. Peristalsis is an involuntary process. Altogether, involuntary. It doesn't require the brain. Altogether, yes. And involuntary actions, they are being taken by what we call the smooth muscles of the intestines. Therefore, our food now goes to what we call the stomach. Am I clear? Now, we are in the stomach. We are in the stomach. Now, what happens in the stomach? We want to understand altogether. Now, in the stomach, the following happens. The stomach, the moment it senses that food is coming, it produces what we call gastric juice. Now, gastric juice contains the following. Number one, it has two types of enzymes. One is called renin. It's called renin. Two is called what we call pepsin. Pepsin. And three is called what we call hydrochloric acid. Now, hydrochloric acid is very, very important. It is known that no one is very, very, very clear. Am I clear? So, if it's anything which is very, very dangerous, altogether, for example, bacteria, the HCl in the stomach now begins to kill, altogether, to what? To kill or destroy, altogether, the bacteria which comes along with what? With the food. Am I clear? It destroys the bacteria which comes along with what? With the food. Altogether. That's the importance of what we call the HCl. And then it also provides what we call an acidic pH. Acidic pH in the stomach. Therefore, our acidic pH is being provided by what we call the HCl, which is called hydrochloric acid. Now listen. Pepsin is there, but the inactive form which is there is called pepsinogen. It's called pepsinogen. Now, the moment you take any food, the HCl also activates what we call the pepsinogen into pepsin. Altogether. Now listen carefully and properly. The pepsin now, its work is to break it down. It is to break it down. The proteins. Altogether. To break down what? The proteins to what we call the peptides. Into peptides. Altogether. Into peptides. Now, our proteins are busy turning into peptides or polypeptides. Those are just chains of what we call the proteins. Then, renin is always there in what we call infants, in infants or younger babies, during what we call suckling of breastfeeding milk altogether. Now, the renin, its importance is to coagulate the milk altogether, turning the casein into carcinogen. That's what we call the importance of renin. So it coagulates or it solidifies the milk altogether in the stomach. Okay, that's called what we call renin. However, as you go on growing, renin goes on decreasing. Okay, now we have seen what we call digestion of what we call the proteins using pepsin, and we are breaking our proteins into what we call peptides, but under what we call the acidic pH. Now listen properly. What is in the stomach is called the chain. It's called chain. So our acidic chain is now taken to what we call the duodenum altogether. So that drives us what we call the duodenum. We want to see what happens in the duodenum altogether. What happens in the duodenum. Biology is very, very interesting. It's very, very interesting. What happens in the duodenum? We want to see. That's number 3 now. Duodenum. Now, in the duodenum, what happens? God gave the duodenum no enzyme. Am I clear there? God gave the duodenum no enzyme. However, God provided what we call the pancreas. The pancreas. And then what we call the liver. And in the liver, we have what we call the gallbladder. We have what we call the gallbladder. And the gallbladder, it gives us what we call the bile juice. The bile juice. Altogether. Now, the bile juice provides what we call chemicals which make what we call an alkaline condition in the duodenum. Therefore, the pH to become alkaline in the duodenum, it is out of the bile juice altogether. So ions or chemicals in the bile juice, they give us what we call an alkaline pH in where? In the duodenum. And then the pancreas, this one gives us what we call the pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice. Now, this pancreatic juice has 3 enzymes, and they are given a name pancreatic. One is called pancreatic amylase. Now, we have also pancreatic what we call trypsin. And lastly, pancreatic lipase. Now, I want us to pay attention, dear students, that pancreatic amylase breaks down what we call the starch. Altogether, the starch to maltose. What does it mean? It is not that all the starch was broken down in the mouth. Therefore, the undigested starch is broken down in the duodenum using what we call the pancreatic amylase. Then trypsin breaks down the proteins altogether, to peptides. Those which we want to break it down in what we call the stomach, they can be broken down in what we call the duodenum using what we call pancreatic trypsin. Now, we have what we call pancreatic lipase. This one breaks down what we call the lipids altogether into what we call fatty acids and glycerol altogether. Now, at this moment, we have what we call the peptides, fatty acids and glycerol, and then we have what we call maltose. But in our question, we only have what we call digestion of starch and then what? And then the proteins. Okay. Now, our food now is being sent what we call the area of absorption, which is called the ileum. Now, pay attention here. The ileum we shall find a juice called Saccharosyntheticus juice. Saccharosyntheticus what? Juice. Now, Saccharosyntheticus juice has the following enzymes. One is called maltase. It's called maltase. 2 is called sucrase. Altogether. 3 is called lactase. Am I clear? 4 is called peptidase. Peptidase. 5 is called what we call lipase. Lipase. These are the 5 ones you find there. Now, lipase breaks down what we call, because now these are the enzymes being broken there. The enzymes. Now, these are the food substances, then the products. These are the enzymes. Now, let's go with what we call our maltase. Maltase breaks down what we call the glucose, in fact, the maltose into what we call glucose, into glucose and glucose. Why? This is because maltose is what we call a disaccharide or a diol sugar altogether, which is made up of glucose and glucose. Then sucrose enzyme now breaks down the sucrose altogether into what we call glucose and then what we call fructose. Fructose. And then the lactase breaks down the lactose into what we call glucose and then galactose. Then the peptidase breaks down the peptides now. Peptides into what we call the amino acids. These ones I'm putting there as products, they can be absorbed by the body. Altogether, they can be absorbed by the body. In the ileum. Then lipase breaks down what we call the what? The lipids into what we call the fatty acids and glycerol. Are we there? Now, these products are being absorbed by the ileum. However, what enables the ileum to absorb? One, the ileum is long. Altogether, the ileum is long. Why is it long? To increase surface area for absorption of food. Number 2, it is given what we call a dense network of capillaries. These ones are there to provide what we call the taking away of what we call absorbed food to the liver. Number 3, members, the ileum is having what we call foldings. They are called foldings. However, these foldings, they are in what we call a finger-like structure like this. These ones are able to absorb altogether, to absorb all the food substances, which are very, very small. So those are called the microvilli. The microvilli. So the villi has the microvilli. These ones are able to what we call absorb food substances. And always is also moist altogether for easy absorption altogether, and also thin for easy absorption. Now, our food has entered what we call the liver, through what we call the hepatic portal vein. Now, listen properly. When food reaches the liver, it undergoes a process called what we call assimilation. Assimilation. Now, one of the assimilation, it happens in what we call the amino acids. And assimilation under amino acids, this is called deamination. Deamination. Deamination is done by the liver. By the liver. In fact, deamination means what we call removal of what we call an amino acid altogether. I mean an amino group from an amino acid. So the removal of what we call an amino group from an amino acid is called deamination. That process is there. Am I clear? So what do we see here? The amino acid is having what we call an amino group, And if at all you remove this amino group, what remains becomes glucose. Altogether. Don't forget how many emphasis here we want to call glucose. Give us energy. Therefore, what do? We come here very fast, the liver comes in, and then it carries a process called deamination. Deamination, here we start to remove what we call an amino group from an amino acid. What remains there is called what we call the glucose. Now, the amino group combines other atoms to form what we call ammonia. Altogether, then ammonia combines with carbon dioxide to form what we call urea. This is excreted through what we call through the kidney. Altogether, yes, like that. Okay, now I think we have understood the process of what we call digestion of beans and portion. Yes. With any question, please, you can reach us in the comments, or you can subscribe altogether, and then you send us your point of emphasis, where you are lost, you tell us, and then we try to help you. I remain the priest of biology. I am Stephen. Yes. Our base is St. Francis Bogie High School, Mukono. You can visit our school 24/7. Thank you so much.